Hey, good afternoon. It's Brian up here in Kingfield, Maine, with another rescue dog project here. It's a really nice player now. I'm really just been having a lot of fun. This is an early 70s Norlin era Gibson J-45 Deluxe. It was when Gibson decided to go the square shoulder route as opposed to their slope shoulder traditional J-45s. And it's a Norlin era, which has gotten kind of a bad rap over the years because they did a bunch of weird things. One of the strange ones they did was in this model, which was one of the double X-braced setups. So it's got a traditional X, and then it has a secondary X down on the belly. And the idea, I'm sure, with that everything I've read is it was trying to avoid warranty claims. They were trying to beef up the belly so that they didn't crack. Well, that's a good theory, except that it probably would have deadened the hell out of the sound with a normal thickness top. And so what it seems like they did for a phase was they thinned the tops way down to like under 1/10 of an inch, 0.085, 0.090. And as a result, if you can get the light correct here, you can see where this one cracks all the way across. And I'll show a few pictures at the end of this video. You can take a look at what it looked like when I got it. This is a solid spruce top. It is solid mahogany back and sides. It's a solid mahogany neck. Has a traditional dovetail. It doesn't have the weird under fretboard dovetail extension like some of the other Norlins. Rosewood fretboard. Would have had a rosewood bridge originally. I've got it, let's see, right here. This had been shaved way down super flat to try to compensate for, having the neck getting bowed and needing a reset. Truss rod did not work when I got it. And a recent neck reset, someone had cut the fretboard extension off, and then when they reset it, it was such a strange angle that it was virtually unplayable above the 9th or 10th fret. It just bowed right up. The fretboard was sticking up. The 13th and 14th frets were about a 1/16 of an inch higher than they needed to be, so it just fretted out. You couldn't play it. I pulled the neck. I pulled the top. Pulled this off of the body itself. I got the whole fretboard off and pulled out the old school single action truss rod. This now has a double action hot rod truss rod accessible through the sound hole like a Martin, and it works both ways, so you can adjust the neck angle forward or back. Since I put the whole access in there, what I did is then fill up all the upper area around the weak joint of the, there's not much of a volute on these. I filled that in with ebony and plugged it up to avoid the tragic Gibson headstock break that we've heard so much about. This one is never broken. It's all solid. The neck itself was in rough shape on the backside, a lot of old capo marks and just cracked and sharp shards of old nitro. So I stripped that down to the basic mahogany itself. I left a little bit of kind of a stinger on the back of the neck just for decorative purposes. During a previous neck reset, they had done some overspray of some dark around the joint anyway, so it kind of blends in there nicely. So the neck has been completely reset, all new frets all the way up the board. The fretboard extension is glued down to the body itself, and the action up here is not wonderful, but it is playable. Everything intonates perfectly. Here comes my dog. She wants to see what we're up to. So it's very playable above the joint. problem there, but you're not going to be playing any super fast up above the neck joint, above the 15th or so fret. All new X bracing inside. Someone prior to me had taken apart the X bracing after pulling the top off, tried to clean up the problem with the bowed belly, and had put in 2 big tone bars in there that were like half an inch thick. So it had traditional X, but 2 tone bars. Problem was, one of the X's was cracked, and the tone bars were so big, and they were not radiused underneath. I think they were doing more damage to this top than doing any good, because the top was just fighting with itself. You had radius in these, and you had flat on those, so it was just kind of twisting and tweaking. So all these cracks have been cleaned up and cleated. All new X bracing, a brand new maple bridge plate, a patch of spruce underneath the bridge itself, because where all the pinholes were, the bridge plate was so shredded that the top was shredded, and a brand new bridge. This is Brazilian rosewood that I just happened to have, so I decided to carve a slightly oversized bridge. It's just a hair bigger than the original rosewood that was on there. Once I had this all done, cosmetically, I decided to go ahead and just do a 30 style, kind of like a 36 jumbo, 34, 36. I'll put it in the notes. I'll figure it out. Like the original Gibson jumbos with the very small sunburst. It's got a brand new, I don't even know what you call that. It's not a batwing. It's got a brand new J-45 style pickguard on there as well. Grover Imperial tuners that are not original, but they look pretty cool. And it's just a good player now. It's got really decent lows, and what's amazing to me is how the mids really seem to fill in. So, this is an all solid wood, 50-year-old Gibson, Norlin era, 72 to 74, based on the serial number and the natural headstock veneer. That's my guess anyway. J-45 Deluxe, still has the original J-45 sticker on the inside. It says proudly Union made. All new binding, no cracks in the back, one big crack on the side that, let's see here, where is it? Right there. It was on it. That has all been reinforced on the inside with a thin piece of bent mahogany. So that has been bent to form, and then side strips placed in there to hold it all together. Cleaned out the inside. Had one back brace that was loose. That's been re-glued. And again, all brand new X bracing up top. Brand new maple bridge plate. Brand new Brazilian rosewood fretboard. Brand new frets. Fretboard itself has been radiused and cleaned up. And she's a hell of a player. Be a great lake house guitar, campfire guitar, at a bargain price. Hey, thanks for watching.